Good afternoon, everybody, and I'll call the meeting to order at 4 p.m. on Monday, December 16, 2024. As Councilor, any additions or deletions to the agenda? I will give a quick verbal update on the police services zone meeting I attended last week at Thunder Bay. Just a quick verbal overview of that. Anybody else? I'll put that under council report.
Actually, no,
it would be board, Jeff, in the back. Thank you.
Item 12. 12B.
12B.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Your worship.
Yep.
Can I make a quick mention of the Shop Local campaign under communications, though? Does it need to be added just at the end?
New business? Or
That should be under announcements. We can include that under announcements.
announcements? Good.
Cool.
So it'll be 16.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, hearing that, I have a motion here that council hereby accepts the agenda for Monday, December 16, 2024, regular meeting of council as circulated amended. Moved by Councilor Knight, second by Councilor Balance. All in favor? Thank you. Any disclosure of interest tonight? I have a motion from the previous meetings minutes of council. The council hereby adopts minutes of the regular meeting of council held on November 25th, 2024, as well as the meetings of council held on November 20th, the closed meeting of council held on November 25th, 2024, and the meeting held on December 2nd and December 9th, 2024, as special meetings of council also held on December 4th, 2024, circulated amended. Moved by Councilor Lake, saying that Councilor, any errors or omissions in any of those minutes? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. So this evening we have a special process that we're going to be swearing in our newest member of council, David Giuliano, and we're going to ask Mr. Giuliano, Mr. Skorchinski to come down to the front, go through the swearing in process.
So just go ahead and recite. I, David Giuliano, having been appointed to the office of councillor in the municipality of Marathon, do solemnly promise and declare that I will truly and faithfully impartially exercise this office to the best of my knowledge and ability. I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of this office in a biased, corrupt, or in any other improper manner. I will disclose any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles III. And I will make this solemn promise and declare conscientiously, believing it to be true and knowing that it is of the same force and effect as if made under oath. Signatures whenever you're ready. And you are officially a councillor. Congratulations. Thanks. Oh, everybody wants.
It's okay.
Yeah, everybody wants to shake your hand.
Well, yeah, COVID's over. We can shake you.
Congratulations. Welcome aboard.
Just sanitize.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
The last one we learned.
Oh, all right. Come on in.
Do a quick photo as well.
Okay.
Madison. The big guy.
Too big, I know
Great.
Awesome.
David.
You're not as cute as the next act, though.
Once again, thank you very much, Councilor Giuliano, and I want to take the opportunity to thank all the other participants in the process of searching for a replacement for Councilor Suki. It was a great interview process. We had great candidates.
Yeah.
I spoke to each and every one of them after the process, and I asked them all to consider re-offering in the 2026 municipal election. So I hope they do and consider that. But again, thank all of them who participated as well. It was really nice to see a good turn of our community interested in sitting as a civic leader. So thank you. Thank you and welcome. We're going to invite the students in now. We're going to do our annual Christmas sing-along.
Are we going to get up again?
Yeah, we can do it in the audience. You want to give me a hand? You got a bigger hand. Oh, yeah.
Because we'll go back on here.
Stand right here.
So that the camera can get them, should they go in the middle or what?
Flip to you. There.
Okay.
Just because I thought the parents might want to look at it. Parents can come down here.
You guys don't fight, right?
No, we don't play.
We're allowed. I want to get old.
Last Christmas, I gave you my heart, but the very next day, you gave it away. This year, to save me from tears, I gave it to someone special. Last Christmas, I gave you my heart, but the very next day, you gave it away. This year, to save me from tears, I gave it to someone special. One turn and twice shot. I keep my distance, but you do catch my eye. Tell me, baby, do you recognize me? What was the thing you did to surprise me? Happy Christmas, I wrote it up and what is the love thing? I love you, I make it. Now I know who loved it. But if I could see now, I will you and me again. Last Christmas, I gave you my heart, but the very next day, you gave it away. This year, to save me from tears, I gave it to someone special. Last Christmas, I gave you my heart, but the very next day, you gave it away. This year, to save me from tears, I gave it to someone special. Parental eyes, I from you stole away. My God, I should be someone to rely on me. I guess I was a shoulder to cry on. Place on another with the light of his heart. A man undercover, but you told again. Last Christmas, I gave you my heart, but the very next day, you gave it away. This year, to save me from tears, I gave it to someone special. Last Christmas, I gave you my heart, but the very next day, you gave it away. This year, to save me from tears, I gave it to someone special.
Next one. Oh,
Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh. Over the field we go, laughing all the way. Bells on bobtails ring, making spirits bright. We're born into ride and sing the sleighing song tonight. Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Hey, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Now the ground is white, though it water young. Take the girls tonight and sing the sleighing song. It's your mom and babe, what we want to see. It's your children rolling sleighing from the tree. Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Hey, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. It is to ride in a one-horse open
One keeps buffering. There we go.
You're Dasher and Dancer and Prancer and Vixen, Comet and Cupid and Donner and Blitzen. But do you know those faces making her alone? One night I was here, all of the reindeers, it's laughing holidays. They never let off. Don't you one foggy Christmas Eve, Santa came to say, Rudolph, take your nose so bright. Won't you guide the sleigh tonight? And all the reindeer reindeer, I wish I could help with glee. Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, you'll go down in history. You'll go down in history.
That was very nice, thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you guys. Thank you very much. That was really nice.
That was great, thanks, guys.
Yeah, so we can give you a little treat, not lunch, maybe a free movie pass sometime over the holiday. Enjoy. Thank you very much.
The other one's
Oh,
great.
that one fell out. We'll give you that one. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
We'll say thank you. You can say.
Thanks for coming in, guys.
Thank you.
James, take it all.
Look at this bunny.
Thank you very much. Parker, thank you very much. Thanks, guys. Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
guys.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Give one, send us a box.
Good work.
Makes me nervous when all my kids are here.
I know
It's amazing how brave those kids are. Like, you couldn't pay me not to get up and sing in front of them. Not a chance I would get up and do that.
I saw that picture you posted with Stanley Cup.
Oh, back in the day, yeah, that was funny. I found that old picture, yeah.
Quite the hair there.
Yeah, quite the
Yeah.
new, for sure. That was the first year at council. Anyway, we're back into our regular meeting council. Really nice to have the students sing for us again. And I appreciate that. Up next, we have council reports, committee of the adjustment appointment. And get that out of here. Motion here that council hereby accepts the attached report and recommendation and appointment of committees of boards, property standards committee, committee of adjustment, and that the appointment be approved as presented in the report. Further, that the appointment be take place November the 14th, 2026. Pursuant to the municipality's procedural bylaw, I'm bringing forward a report that will recognize that Councillor Lake will be appointed to the committee adjustment for the period as stated and will expire at November 14th, 2026. This motion is moved by Councillor Winters, seconded by Councillor Bellins. Any questions on that appointment? No. Hearing none, call in favor, all in question. All in favor. Not all in question, all in favor. Thank you. Thank you much. And we'll not. So the first two motions didn't include Councillor Giuliano. The third one will.
That's correct.
Be swearing in. Thank you very much. Up next, we have the student council report. Councillor Matos, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. There's not much happening in Marathon High School lately. On December 3rd, a representative of NMFC came to talk to our potential graduating students about a scholarship opportunity. They offered 12 annual scholarships for high school and post-secondary students. Any secondary students within our management area who plan on attending post-secondary school in the fall or is a full-time university or college student are eligible to apply to that. On the same topic, many of our Falcons are going through the process of applying to post-secondary schools in which acceptances are already going out. So just a reminder, as university applications are coming to a close on January 15th and college applications on February 1st. So please submit your applications if you're looking to attend. And if you don't already know, it's our last week before winter break. So we got 4 days left, counting down the days. Yeah.
Well, thank you for that report. It sounds like the Nowingo-Bokeema Forest Corporation is what you're talking about. Yeah, right? So they're not restricting their bursaries for students going to forestry or management?
No.
Good. Nice to see that now. That's great. Good corporate citizen there. Appreciate it. Okay, thank you for that report. Councillor Anthony, please.
Alrighty, I firstly want to start off by welcoming Councillor Giuliano to council and thanking the other 5 candidates for putting their name forward. I think it was a great learning experience for me and Councillor Matos. But on to the meat and potatoes of the matter, Marathon High School kicked off the NSSS winter season with a all but rocky start against the Lake Superior High School Stingers, with Mr. Lake's senior girls being the only victorious team of the match. And then tomorrow we have 3 of the Forward Falcons teams heading off to Manitowoc to face the Wolverines. My senior boys basketball team won't be making it because Manitowoc does not have a senior boys basketball team. And on a side note, our senior girls volleyball team also participated in the Westgate High School Tiger tip-off this last weekend. I believe they made it all the way to the consolation semifinals and were eliminated by Nipperock High School. And then lastly, I have an update on my final project for my co-op course that I'm doing with the town of Marathon, and which has now turned into a volleyball tournament. Happening on the 20th and 29th. We currently have 9 teams signed up for the tournament. I think we have 5 men's teams and 4 women's teams. So if you are interested, please get a hold of me over the next week. We have a week from today until signups do close. And I will be reposting the links on social media after to let everyone know that there's only a week left and to get signed up.
And that money and
And the funds are going to Marathon High School.
Okay. So the age category for the sign up is open?
you're in if you want to.
You want to make the team?
Council team?
Coach us?
Well, we got,
I'm putting Todd in the middle.
we got our net guy, Mike, right on the curve. Anthony. Anyway, so thank you very much for that report. Appreciate it. And up next, we have the corporate strategic plan progress report.
So the town of Marathon's current strategic plan was endorsed by council in 2023. So the plan obviously outlines the goals of this term of council, as well as administration.
A component of the plan is to complete regular performance reviews and present them to council. So we bring these reports to council on a semi-annual basis, generally in June and December. Here's the December report. So a tremendous amount of effort, energy, and work went into the plan in 2024. Some of the key accomplishments include the Active Living Center. We're at 90% completion of design. The contractor pre-qualifications is currently open with a closing date of originally December the 18th, but we have extended that by 2 weeks just with the holiday season to ensure we get the maximum amount of pre-qualifications we can. And we're on schedule for the project to be tendered in the first quarter of 2025, looking at February. With the Active Living Center, funding applications are into the Green and Inclusive Community Building Fund at the federal level, the Ontario Community Sport and Recreation Fund, and the Green Municipal Fund for brownfield redevelopment, and these are totaling $70 million. We haven't heard back on the applications as yet, other than they've been accepted and are complete. New residential planning. So we're right on schedule with our tiny home subdivision planning. The RFP and final engineering design are currently being completed. The RFP will be issued in the spring. In January, we do require a plan of subdivision for that area because it is one parcel identification number legally on title. That'll be coming to the Committee of Adjustment in early April or early January, then to Council for final approval. New Works and Operations Facility. We held our grand opening in October. Obviously, a great building for our staff to move into. And we're still transitioning there as the winter season comes upon us. Completion of our Pebble Beach Development Project was held in the spring. And next year, we'll start looking at what phase 2 may look like for that waterfront development project. The Port Authority. So working on port planning and submission of startup funding applications to NOHSC, FedNor, and NFMC. We just had a board meeting approximately a week ago. Board members, myself and the mayor from Marathon, and then the chief and the CEO from Meekdagon. So those funding applications will go in before year end for startup funding. Those total approximately $5 million. And we've also completed a marine engineering plan that is required for dredging of the port. And we'll be utilizing that for our permitting process early in the new year. Asset management and infrastructure planning. So we completed our provincially legislated report. That's been submitted. The new Blue Box recycling program is in full effect. That came in July the 1st, and we'll see the full savings in the budget in 2025. We signed a 5-year agreement with Northern Waterworks and added the addition of lift stations and reduced our capital fees. So good to have another stable agreement with that group who does a good job of managing our resources. We have a strong relationship. We're in the process of completing the Evergreen lift station design. So this is required as per legislation, does require an upgrade when funding becomes available. We're currently finishing that design in 2024. And just for council's information, we're targeting probably looking at $3+ million just for this one lift station. That's the cost of refurbishing these facilities in today's environment. We completed tank tightness and TSSA audits for the fuel systems at Public Works and the airport. We got the green light on those. And we also completed our land clearing requirements as per NAVCAN regulations at the airport. Waterfront development. So we're in the process of developing a waterfront master plan, utilizing HAPA Collaborative, who's our landscape architect on the Active Living Center project. And really what we're going to be doing is tying in from Pebble Beach all the way to Carden Cove, and including the Active Living Center. So right now, very much in the blocking diagram phase, and we'll be planning public consultations in the spring of 2025. Municipal communications. The big ticket item for next year will be modernizing our municipal website. It's due for a refresh. So we'll be undertaking that starting in January. Other projects completed this year, administration of the council vacancy process, which was completed tonight, support of our mining industry, support of our local groups through the utilization of the municipal accommodation tax, continued support for the Healthcare Professionals Recruitment Committee, of which I sit, support of beautification in the community, as well as a strong supporter of the Al Dixon Fish Derby. We've completed the irrigation communications interface upgrade at the golf course. What that means is we can now operate the irrigation system via mobile means. Doesn't need to be, hand operated, which means we can time when water is on the course much more efficiently at better times of the day. And then finally, as you'll see in the bylaws, we completed our emergency planning exercise earlier this year when we had the dry spring, and we had looked at the forest fire scenario for Marathon. So looking ahead, 2025, the SLT and council met on October the 28th to identify our next year's priorities. Obviously, high on the list, tendering the active living center, completing the port dredging permitting and work to operationalize startup in 2026. The waterfront master plan is on the agenda. Obviously, internally, we're deep into the 2025 budget and are required by law to bring a balanced budget to council. The week of December the 27th, a number of notices going out with respect to the budgeting process. Updating the OP and comprehensive zoning bylaw. So we're at our 10-year requirements, last updated in 2015. So we're required in 2025 to update those documents. The ASB property transaction. So finally happy to report that's going to be completed in January, which has been on the books for over 10 years now. Takes a lot of time to work through the Ministry of Natural Resources on these items. Health professionals recruitment, that'll once again be in the budget. As I said, modernizing the town's website. Continue and build joint opportunities with Beektagon. Obviously, we have the port project, but we also met recently with our senior administration to talk about development opportunities as it relates to the active living center construction and how the town and BN can partner to ensure that we maximize the dollars from that construction so they stay locally and don't leave our community. Building a deeper relationship with NN. They've obviously contributed to our active living center, so that'll be the start of some broader conversations next year. House Street is planned for tender next year, resurfacing. We'll tie that into when we do the infrastructure upgrades at the tiny home subdivision, road, water, sewer there, and we'll tender it as one package for cost savings. Golf course, bridge, and culvert replacement is on the agenda. That bridge needs to be replaced. So we'll be budgeting that in capital next year. And as discussed at our strat planning session, looking at building a reserve fund strategy, utilizing the potential of local improvement taxes to develop building funds, particularly around recreation was our discussion. So as you can see, lots on the go. The projects have either been completed or they'll be in the upcoming budgets. But administratively, it's always nice to bring these reports to council and the public and reflect on the work that we've done, because there are a lot of times in the day-to-day of running the municipality, we don't get that opportunity. So this is reports for council's information, and I'm happy to take questions.
So do you have any questions on their report? Councilor?
Yeah, first of all, it's a pretty impressive list for a small municipality, and I think probably the council's said before that the priority is the ALC in lots of ways, so in lots of other stuff will fall out of that. But I do wonder when you think about the waterfront, again, when the town was built, the industry owned the water and we kind of sat back. Does the municipality now own from the ASB all the way to sort of Carton Cove area as one continuous strip that's like we can kind of do what we want now? That would be new for us, right?
Yeah, that's correct. So once the ASB transaction is completed, we'll own that entire section from the ASB to Carton Cove. There is a setback from the lake of I want to say it's maybe 7 feet that you can develop, obviously within close to the Great Lakes. But other than that, we will have title to all of those properties.
That is exciting to start to envision us as a more of a lake community, kind of looking out in that direction. So once the ALC is done and that kind of anchors, I think that development, that's a really exciting thing to think about what we could look like, right? You go down to the States and some of those little communities are beautiful.
Anything else? Obviously, history going back, we talked about the development of I think you were the economic development manager at the time, we talked about the development of the Carton Cove Road for a home building. At that time, to develop just one lot was $75,000. Nothing else on the lot, just the infrastructure to get the lot developed. So today we're probably looking at about $225,000 for that lot. So it'd be awesome to develop waterfront, or you make it continually self-contained, right? But that's not a rock. That's the biggest problem that we look at, right? With the waterfront is from this Carton Cove all the way to basically to the ASB site is a lot of rock
Yeah, a lot of bedrock, but it certainly does provide that opportunity for us to look at, other residential opportunities other than just this traditional subdivision.
Right. And we also talked about the ALC property that there could be future development of, long-term care, seniors lodging, seniors homes within a complex of condo style buildings rather than individual standalone homes. Because that's where you get a lot more bang for your property size. You build the condo style. So there's lots of opportunities.
Yeah.
We just got to get the money for the next level in 25. So hopefully it all works out well for us.
Quick question.
Councilor Julian.
I noticed the golf course bridge and culvert replacement. I'm a skier and I know there's a bridge that they're working on, not on the executive or anything. Has there been any conversation with the ski club about optimizing overlap that they could be done at the same time?
I would have to look into that. I know there was just a meeting that I was not a part of between some members of our team and the cross-country ski group with respect to the new lease, but can certainly follow that up. But we are in regular contact.
Yeah, I went to the AGM and that was one of the big things on their agenda. And so I thought, well, maybe there's something, they do it at the same time.
Okay, good. Thanks for bringing it up. So encourage administration to have a chat with the executive of the Cross Country Ski Club to see if there's opportunities. Again, this will come in part of the capital budget for 2025.
Correct.
Hopefully council will see there's an opportunity to develop both if there's money available. So thank you for that. Up next, we have the report on 25 council dates for council meeting and dates, Mr. Skorzinski.
So I won't read the report verbatim, but we have to bring this forward administratively every year for council's approval with respect to next year's council meeting dates. So obviously in our regular months, we meet on the second and the fourth Monday at 4 o'clock of every month. But some other items that we need to address. We have one meeting in July and August. So we're proposing July the 21st for the July meeting, August the 25th. We will be at AMO August 17th to the 20th. December, the meeting will be December the 15th. Thanksgiving this year falls on Monday, October the 13th. So that's a regular scheduled council meeting date. So we'll move that over to Tuesday, October the 14th. As regular, we'll post all the dates on the town's website and Facebook page. So the options for council accept the 2025 regular council meeting dates as follows: July 21st, August 25th, October 14th, and December 15th. Should any matter arise that requires a special meeting, we can call that with 24 hours notice. Or option B, hold a meeting on alternative dates. Your administration recommends that option A be selected and that the regular meetings of council schedule be approved and presented and the public notified accordingly.
Great, thanks for that report. I do have a motion. Council hereby accepts the attached report and recommendation on council's meeting schedule for 2025. That the 2025 meeting dates be approved as outlined in this report. Further, that should any matter of urgency arise, a special meeting of council may be called at any time with 24-hour notice to the public, being provided through the town's website or social media. Mover?
And my apologies, Your Worship, I didn't know you read it out after you read it.
Just for the motion for the formality part of it. Juliana, second by Councilor Lake. Any questions of the motion put forward? Hearing that, all in favor? Thank you much. Up next, we report on the 25 fees and charges. Mr. Verbal, how are you doing?
Doing good, Mayor and Council.
Thank you.
Prior to the start of each fiscal year, rates for municipally provided goods and services are presented to Council for their approval. In determining the fees and charges for 2025, following implications are considered: legislative rates, Council's cost recovery objectives, operating cost increases, and comparisons with similar services offered elsewhere. All the proposed fees are listed in the attachment. Generally, a 3.25% increase was applied to most fees in recognition of labor negotiations. Equipment rentals have been increased by 5% due to the rising cost of fuel and parts. The new chief building official has revamped the fee structure of building permits based on his experience of the amount of work required to process these permits. The annual requirement to get a current dog tag is to be discontinued. Any new dog will be required to be registered for a fee of $25. A tag will be given so that should the animal be found running at large, the owner will be able to be contacted and awarded pound fees. No changes to the bag tag rate of $2.50 each. Tipping at waste transfer will be increased from $125 per metric ton to $129. Taxpayers are still subsidizing the process of solid waste by over $340,000 this year. Residents can manage the cost of handling waste that they generate and thereby reduce their costs. Water sewer rates will be increased by 3.61% by changing the sewer surcharge from 54% to 59.5% of the water rate. Water shutoffs and turn-on rates have been increased to reflect the actual cost of the service. Daily and lump sum daily and weekend rates have been discontinued for the arena's multipurpose room and the Lakeview Gymnasium. These facilities are still available to rent daily and on weekends, but an hourly rate will be applied. It's proposed that golf fees be increased by 5%. All taxpayers subsidize the operations by $300,000 in 2024. This does not include the $90,000 in capital for the irrigation this year. The cost of fertilizer is expected to raise substantially in 2025. Administration notes that the bylaw and fees regulating commercial billboards on Peninsula Road is under review, and a report will be brought to council next month. User fees generate approximately $3 million in revenue annually. Each dollar raised through the fees lessen the burden of generating funds through a property tax rate. Options are to adopt the fees as presented with bylaw 2085 or accept the fees with amendments. Administration presents this proposal for your consideration and approval.
Thank you very much. I have a motion here. The council hereby accepts the attached recommendation report and recommendation on 2025 fees and service charges. Further, that the report bylaw be adopted later in this meeting, approving the 2025 fees and service charges. Moved by Councilor Lewis and by Councilor Lake. Questions of Mr. Bergman? Councilor Lake?
Sure. So it sounds, for the most part, that it's the same fees and charges structure as last year, plus the cost of living. Sounds like a little bit more for golfing because of some additional costs that are coming out of fertilizer and fuel. So if we were okay with last year's, to me, I sort of feel like okay with this year's. I like the bit you said at the end, because I think the comment that I think we always get back is, why do we have to pay for this? Why isn't it free for us to do whatever it is we do? But I think it's that nice distinction, right? That it either you charge everybody in the municipality or you charge the people that use it, and it's finding that balance. And I think probably sometimes we get it right, sometimes we get it wrong. But for the most part, people seem pretty pleased with everything outside of the boat launch last year. And I thought we came to a solution there. So I feel like it feels like something we can preserve. I feel like I can improve it based on just saying it's cost of living pretty much status quo. So I appreciate that as a stance going in.
Anybody else? Councilor.
Yeah, so just kind of, because I've already had people reach out to me about the boat launch, just wanted to point out to the public that we are only raising it the same as everything else at 3.24%, which is like $4 per year. So I think that's pretty in line with the cost of inflation and everything else that's gone up. One thing that may be good for the public is, what exactly does that fee go towards? Like, what are the costs associated with the boat launch?
Still maintaining the fish shack. It is still maintaining the docks and the area around it. We're still subsidizing boat launch this year by at least $35,000. Some of the dock has been damaged, so in 2025, we're budgeting that we'll have to spend substantial money on repairing the dock also.
Okay.
And some of the other items, Your Worship, was a great question. Things that people might not see, grading the road, as an example. Providing, calcium chloride. That's what we utilize for dust control. That's obviously not a paved road. That's another cost that would be applied to that area. So it's very much in line with how we treat other facilities.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you.
And don't forget, we spent $100,000 in the last 2 years building that stuff too. So that's not included. Amortization of what we spent in prior years is not included in the $35,000.
Anybody else? So I think Councilor, that you want middle? Pretty good.
No, I just wonder, I mean, I got the ALC on my mind, obviously, it's the big elephant in the room. How will we approach, or are we starting to even think about how we're gonna do fees and charges, with new facilities that obviously, like you said, the boat launch maybe cost 100 to build, but it's gonna be 60 million to build, recreation. So I just wonder what the approach is gonna be as we move forward.
Yeah, we've certainly thought about it. And what council will see in the operating budget for 2025 are dollars to hire a professional consulting firm to write a business plan around the new fees as they relate to recreation. So we need a professional to assist us with that. Certainly our traditional fee structure going forward isn't going to be applicable. We're obviously going to bring on new facilities and looking to divest other ones in time, because they will be redundant. So that'll be an exercise we'll undertake, obviously, based on, hopefully it's, receiving the funds. So that will be in council's package for the new year.
Okay, thank you.
And that probably won't be a decision made until the new council is sworn in, probably 2026, with the advice and direction from potential report from a consultant firm. Recognize that. As always, the community is very appreciative of the work that council administration does, specific administration trying to keep the cost down. The reality is everybody knows, everybody in the community, no matter where you live, there's impacts with increased of cost of fuel, energy, all those various things that impact the municipality the same way. So I just pulled a couple quick things on. Anybody can look at the full chart of the fee charges by year for administration, roughly about a 3.5% increase across the board. Some might a little higher, some just a bit lower, but on average. So for example, if you're taking a water bill for the average home in our community, start from $776 a year to $804 a year. So that's $28 increase overall with the sewer charge increase. $804 is probably the cheapest water and sewer in all of Northern Ontario, period. Anybody can go check it out on anybody's website, any municipality. I'm not trying to compare us to anybody, I'm just saying we're reasonably bringing in the cost of services that you're utilizing in your home for $800 a year. It's an increase, but it's not dramatic. Golf, for example, is $672 compared to $640 for an adult. I'm not comparing students right now, I'm just looking at the senior rate or nothing, I'm just looking at an adult rate. Anybody who golfs, I have a lot of friends that I golf. When you go golfing anywhere, it's $100 a round, let alone, never mind, $672 a year, which you can golf a marathon almost any given time of the day without really any hassle or anybody in front of you. So everybody knows that, and I think they just have to appreciate that there's a fee to try to offset the taxpayer in our community. You heard from the treasurer. At the golf course alone, is $300,000 subsidy still from the ratepayer in our community. And there is with every other one of our facilities as well, but I'm just identifying that one. The ratepayer does subsidize recreation in our community. Recreation doesn't make money. We just try to recover some of those costs in a reasonable rate of increases annually, and we're good. So just want people to know that. Anybody can have an opportunity to look at the full fees and charges that we're increasing across the board, but we'd be here for another 3 hours and went through each one line by line. We always get the same report. We identify what the impacts are in general and how the municipality runs. We'll be going through a process through budget to discuss those impacts in more detail for things needed for our future 25 operating and capital budget. So we got a mover by Councilor Winner, second by Councilor Tate, all in favor of that proposed fees and charge for 2025. There will be a dialogue in a minute. Thank you. Up next, we got a report on amending the 2024 budget, Mr. Verbal.
The 2024 budget was approved in April of this year with bylaw 2076. I'm proposing accounting changes to better reflect the actual activities being conducted. This report is a matter of housekeeping to ensure the budget more closely matches actual spending and funding. There are 3 changes to Schedule A of the budget bylaw. The first one, Council approved upgrading the Evergreen Lift Station. Construction and engineering was estimated to cost $2.6 million. In 2024, only $231,000 of engineering was to be done. This was recognized in capital, but a significant amount of the work is to support commercial and industrial development. Since this is tentative, it's more appropriate that the engineering costs be classified as consulting operating fees to be funded by the Water and Sewer Reserve Fund. Second change, Council approved the engineering work ahead of resurfacing Howe, Stevens, and Spruce Court. 2024, $144,000 of engineering was to be done. The work is to be funded by the Canada Community Building Fund grant. Including in this amount was $50,000 to conduct storm and sewer camera inspection. It is more fitting that this cost be classified as consulting operating costs. The water and sewer reserve fund will be used to fund either operating or capital costs. The last change is council approved the net operating cost of $6,000 to purchase a spare arena ice resurfacer. The equipment was to be available to our 5 neighboring communities. They contributed to the purchasing price. Instead of a $6,000 operating cost, the correct accounting treatment should be a capital purchase of $21,000 and miscellaneous revenue of $15,000. There's no change to the total to be levied. There will be less variance of actual spending compared to budget when the financial statements are finalized. So the options are approve the amendment or do not agree to amend the 2024 budget. Administration recommends that option A be approved and that bylaw 2086 amending bylaw 2076 for the 2024 estimates of all sums required be approved as presented.
Great, thanks. I do have a motion here that council hereby supports the attached report from amending the 2024 budget for that the approved bylaw be adopted later in this meeting, approving this amendment. Moved by Councilor Lake, seconded by Councilor Melton. Any questions, Mr. Rudolph? Councilor Lake.
Just so this is more about the work that you do in terms of making sure that the numbers line up. It's not new numbers. It's not money that has been spent differently. It's just we're classifying it as
Just classification, yeah.
So I can't really
The
follow.
difference between
Yeah.
operating and capital.
Okay, I can't really follow all your thinking, so I'm just going to trust that you're putting it in the right margin. As long as the number at the end works out and we're on budget, it's all good.
So as you know, we have a substantial reserve account for water and sewer. So if you're gonna do any water and sewer
Yeah,
work,
makes sense.
consulting or design or capital, you should be taking that out of that water and reserve account. I think that's what the administration is recognizing.
Yep.
I think the dollar should come from those reserves. I'm a little confused on the last one though. And I'm usually pretty good with numbers, but instead of the $6,000 of operating costs, the correct accounting should be capital purchase of 21 grand and miscellaneous revenue of 15 grand. So you're still at 6, but you're just recognizing it in 2 different ways.
Yes.
Okay.
What we originally said was we're going to spend $6,000 on operating.
Right.
But actually, is we're spending $21,000 to get a piece of machinery.
Right.
But it's offset by $15,000 from
Miscellaneous revenue from other
Other
municipalities.
communities, correct. The other communities.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that's
So it's still 6 grand, it's just rewording.
That's what I mean. It's just
The 6 grand comes in.
I felt it.
But that took you up just a tad there. What the heck? You know, sometimes those consulting and those treasury people, they have really way of doing things. Really good, but sometimes it's confusing as we listen to the budget process way back and it was like, whoa. Okay, did everybody get that? Especially with the PSAB and the asset management. Was that interesting? Anyway, with the mover, second, Scrivener, I'll call the question. All in favor? Thank you. Thank you for that. And up next, we have a report on the roadway management plan. Mr. Paris, good evening.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Okay, so in front of you, you have the roadway management plan for 2024. As you guys are aware, the Works and Operations Department is responsible for maintaining the town's roadway. Primary duties really include the snow removal on roads, sidewalks, municipal parking lots, and our back lanes. In order to comply with the town's current practice of winter road maintenance, the roadway management plan was updated to reflect our current operations in the department. The last one was updated in 2018, just to give you a bit of brief history there. The department is committed to maintain all roads and associated facility parking spaces in a safe, reliable, and cost-effective manner on behalf of council and municipality. Not all winter operations are regulated, so under Regulation 23902, minimum maintenance standards for municipal highways, there are some requirements based on road classifications regarding the response time to deploy resources to treat icy roadways and clear the snow accumulation. There's a fairly lengthy attachment plan you have. I'm not going to go through all that. I'm just going to go through the entire report here. It's fairly identified there all the tasks that each, the department does, how we react to it, and based on the Regulation 23902. So the town is comprised of 3 classes of roads. We have class 3, 4, and 5 roadways, and these are all based on annual traffic data that we receive from, our traffic that we have, the speed that we have,
the volume, and all these ratings come in and we compile to what that classification becomes. In total, we have 32 kilometers of actually flexible pavement roadway, and 6 kilometer gravel roads and back lanes. And as you're aware, we do manage the back lanes, though the property on the lower most of our back lanes do not go to the municipality. So class 3 roadways are encompassing the town's main, I'd say the main roadways in the entire community. So focusing on fire department, getting into the hospital, those main roadways, all the way up to the highway. And then we got our class 4s and 5s. It's really all our crescents around the community, less traffic areas, back lanes. So the response time to react to snowfall in the class 3 roadway, so the main highway coming in, basically we'll call that, is within 12 hours once we get 8 centimeters of accumulation. So if anyone's unaware, that's 3.15 inches. Again, the priority goes to the sidewalks immediately to when we're doing sidewalk work. We focus on the schools and we focus on the hospitals downtown area, and then we'll work on sidewalks afterwards around the community. Pleased to say now that the Public Works Department now operates a 7-day a week on regular schedule during their 20-week operation that we do in the wintertime now. This spreads from November to April, and we pick the date once we finalize how we see what the long-range term weather is doing, and to pick the date as per the collective agreement. Our roadway management plan also includes a component for roadway salt management. The town averages, I'd say, approximately 350 tons of salt, and then also 800 tons of sand and salt mix. And our sand salt mix runs a 5% ratio. So basically, we add 5% of salt to our sand, just so we don't make sure it's clumping and freezing on us. Planning and decision making for the use of the appropriate grip material that we use, whether it's sand or salt or a mixture, is based on current conditions, available from weather network predictions, the rate of the snowfall, moisture content, accumulation, temperature, time of the day, we get sun or cloud cover, pavement temperature and wind velocity, which all determines basically how we're going to set up for the storm that we're going to be coming in. We are equipped with 2 infrared, I'm going to say thermometers on our vehicles. So the new speed plow truck that we have and the patrol truck that we have 2 monitors that monitor the pavement temperatures, humidity, all these things that go with it. So operations have to be flexible to combat the various aspects of each storm. And as we just had a recent one, it's always a learning curve as you get through. And I'd say for public works and also for the community and driving. It's like, we've got to put our winter tires on, or we've got to use how to stop a little faster before we get to the stop sign. So I would say that, we strive to ensure the safe passage on municipal roadways and for monitoring the public. There's no financial implication, and this report was brought forth for council for information. And if there's any questions, I'd be willing to take them.
Thank you very much. Anybody have a question of Mr. Ferris?
Not a question, but more so a comment, and kind of away from asset management, more into public works. But luckily, our group at Confederation College, our Women in Trades, were invited into the operations of the public works new garage and got a tour with Mr. Harris. And I have to say a huge thank you. They very much enjoyed the tour of the facility, and I can say it really inspired them. It inspired them to move forward with the placement. They were super appreciative of just what we had to offer within public works and the facility that our employees are able to do their job within, and just like the state-of-the-art building that they now have for the legacy of public works and stuff. So the group was really appreciative, and it really inspired them to continue on. And all of them were begging to see if they could get a placement with the town of Marathon to be able to do the placement within the new shop. So just positives all around. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you for the compliment. I'll pass it on to the team.
Good, thank you very much. Anybody else? Councilor?
Must be a heck of a tour. I'd say certainly the comment you hear around town, we just did fees and charges. We get some blowback from that. We rarely get blowback from roads. I think we do a really good job as a municipality, gold standard. I think especially if you've been in Thunder Bay and it looks like they're after a storm. I do wonder, what's your the one thing I think about when I think about roads is the use of salt. Obviously, it's not great for the environment. How do we manage to use as little salt as we need to, but enough that we do the job?
So basically we look at what's coming, temperature is really the main factor there, because depending on what the wind is happening, that changes what's happening in the roadway. So we use our infrared thermometer that, gives us classification. We have some experienced operators that really understand, when we should do it, what we shouldn't be doing. We take a lot of their input because it changes dramatically very quickly. And again, the price of salt, and also for our water management.
for, the entire community. We want less salt. And it's a beginning here everywhere in the news, no salt will use salt. So we try to manage more with sand salt mix.
Anybody else? I think Councilor hit the nail on the head. Honestly, when we're looking at competitive road class 3s, 4s, and 5s, we're probably hitting the 1s and 2s at most times in regards to snow removal and sand and salt applications. So everybody knows that. There's from time to time people will get upset because it's snowing really hard and the road might be a little slick. Well, that's reality. We live in Northern Ontario, so appreciate your work. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think it's the public, everyone drives the road conditions and slows down a bit, and we're all at fault for that.
And honestly, no different. Every year we have our annual Christmas party with our staff, and we thank them for the great work they do, because they are the face of the community. We're the administrators around this table. They're the people out there doing the work, and that's what people will see, and to me, you want to harass a bit in regards to the job they're doing, but they're doing a great job.
I just want to know how the plow driver knows that I've just finished.
Oh, we planned out on purpose. No, it is the most frustrating thing. But yes, overall, the guys do a tremendous job. The department do a lot of experience that they share with the new drivers coming in. And I think the biggest difficulty is our first snowstorm that we had to go. You don't know where their zones are, where's those piles, and trying to set those in. But other than that, they do a tremendous job.
Great, thanks for the report.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Up next, we have a report on emergency management plan. Mrs. Gritchin's going to have it.
I'll take that one. So the Emergency Management and Civil Protection Act and its supporting regulation 3804 provides a number of requirements for both ministries and municipalities. Each year, the Community Emergency Management Coordinator, in our case, that's Mrs. Goodchild, along with the Emergency Management Program Committee, of which the CAO is the chair, are required to review the plan, critical infrastructure, complete a hazard risk assessment review, and facilitate a tabletop exercise with the control group. The annual review of the plan, the risk assessment, and the critical infrastructure was completed virtually, and the tabletop exercise took place on May the 6th. As I said earlier, the scenario was a forest fire in close proximity to Marathon. The emergency plan must be approved annually by council via bylaw, and the bylaw must encompass the emergency management program as well as the emergency management plan. Any costs associated with administering the town's emergency plan have been provided for in the annual operating budget, and there are no direct costs this year. But I do want to point out just before we go to options that we are planning in 2026 to do a live training exercise, not just a tabletop exercise. So Mrs. Goodchild and Mr. Trash will handle coordination of that in 2025. So the options for council: approve bylaw 2084, repealing bylaw 2064, request that administration make changes to bylaw 2084. And your administration recommends that option A be selected and that council approve the emergency plan as presented for 2024 and the appropriate bylaw be adopted.
Thank you. I do have a report here. Council hereby accepts the attached report and recommendation of Marathon 2024 emergency management plan. And further that the appropriate bylaw be adopted later in this meeting, including the town of Marathon emergency management program and emergency plan. Moved by Councilor Lake, second by Councilor Reynolds. And anybody have any questions of that report?
I just want to say,
Councilor Giuliano,
I thought it was a very comprehensive report. I really appreciated the elements in it. One question I had in it, and I got helped out with that, is where the actual, what the work the planners have done is available, and Jamie found it for me, but I think there's people in the community who'd like to be able to see that too. So if we get on our website, however it exists, as it's updated each year.
And as you know, we identified in the budget that we're looking at updating the website, which should bring it to be more of an action site, like, live, updated on a regular basis for all the stuff we do. So one thing I recall back in the 90s, we went to a emergency preparedness facility in Ottawa. Is that still available, Chief?
I don't know.
No, maybe can you check into that maybe in the new year and see if there's something that, it's a great tool for councils to understand the emergency preparedness aspect of your municipality. I attended, and Councillor Sparrow at the time attended. It was a week-long course, and I can tell you it was pretty in-depth. At the same time, it's teaching you all the management skills, and no matter what, it doesn't really matter. No different. We just went through the pandemic. We think we did most things right, but we made some mistakes, and it's always good to come back and revisit that. So when you do a tabletops, it's great, but doing the actual incident, and what Mr. Skuczynski said is that doing a live action scenario, The last one we did, I think, was in the 90s when we did a bus rollover with a bunch of patients being brought up to the hospital, school students, and it was quite in depth. So it was quite the plan. We had a much bigger community, much more students within our community at that time. So it's great to see those live action ones. I look forward to that in 2026. Thanks. Anything else?
Most of the things I was looking for in particular was, I really glad that it said about mitigation, but I couldn't find out what mitigation they agreed on, the planning committee, or, what was the other one? Anyway, it's just, I think people appreciate being able to see how that got filled in and what it led to, in the decision making of the committee.
Sure. And the community used to be much bigger and broader, and then the act was changed and it brought it back down to a smaller group of functioning within administration, the Mission Great Prairies plans. We used to have like the police, the ambulance, the hospital, the docks, all those people, and we just administered.
They don't sit on that anymore.
No.
So they've changed the legislation and make it much more streamlined, to actually deal with an emergency. So in our case, obviously, the key, I think we're 6 on our committee, myself, the mayor, our CDMC, Mr. Ferris, Mr. Gerbo, and Mr. Tratch. And really what the plan is now is you bring those resources on dependent on the emergency itself. So, as an example, if it was a forest fire, obviously they'd be reaching out to the Ministry of Natural Resources for assistance. Whereas before, they all used to be at the table, but if we're doing a forest fire exercise, well, it doesn't really have a lot to do, possibly with, another group. So this is just a much more streamlined process.
And the extreme cases of evacuation, which would include the hospital, the site manor, and they all need to have plans that jive with ours.
So it's really, it's one of those things where, the legislation sets out the program framework, but it's really the decision makers at the table at the time, and ultimately make the decisions. The most recent one we had was the pandemic where, I don't even want to look at those notebooks I have in my office, the time we put into it. But other than that, we're well prepared.
Yeah. Okay.
Because, there wasn't a lot of things that was good that came out of the pandemic, but the one thing that was nice is, I remember you talking about this after the fact that, there's all these silos of decision makers, but there was a table that you all came to. Are we still meeting once a year or?
Yeah, that group is coordinated by NOSH.
Okay.
And it does, I think it's maybe quarterly, they meet.
Situation table.
Situation table.
It was just nice to have everybody in the room at least once a year, right? To sort of, I think what David is saying, to make sure we're all aware of what we're doing.
So I think like in that scenario, we had some battles with the health team. We've had some learning curves big time. We got through all that. And I think we did the right thing at the end of the day. And we make note of that. And I think everybody learned a lot because again, the last pandemic was in 1911 or something, right? 1918. Councilor Bell.
Just to add to that, Your Worship, I think a big piece to the emergency plan, especially coming out of the pandemic and learning what we learned there, will be the messaging and the communication piece and how social media plays a piece and how the messaging can get just run away off and on you, right? So what does that look like when we look at our plan and how it fits into the whole wheel, right?
And I think, one of the things that, we've implemented, since we came out of the pandemic, if council recalls, is our mass notification system. Where, now residents through their mobile devices can sign up for that service from the municipality and receive updates based on what they select. So as an example, road closures. If the road closures is on there and we post it through that notification system, it will show up.
Okay. All that being said, I'll call the question. All in favor? That report. Thank you very much. I have a couple more motions here. The motion here regards to the check run. This motion is for the council to hereby approve the following check run registers for November 2024. Accounts payable in the amount of $2,112,112.46.91 and payable in the amount of $178,963.99. Moved by Councilor Bell, seconded by Councilor Lake. Any questions on those check runs? Hearing none, call the question. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Okay, couple of reports. I got a report just briefly verbally on the Thunder Bay District Municipal League in regards to the recent meeting we attended, and it was just around the board structure, how we're going to meet with. We're having some struggles with the coordinating of our upcoming conference in March, and there's been a lot of going back and forth. So we're going to try. It's coordinating meetings right now is really difficult for whatever reason. It's this time of the year, so There was a meeting held, a board meeting in Geraldton. I was double booked, so I had to go to Thunder Bay. I couldn't make that meeting. And then we've had 2 subsequent meetings after that to talk about the structure of it. And we're struggling because some people want to have a whole bunch of vendors at our Thunder Bay District Assembly. And I found in the past they hadn't worked, so I'm going to meet again on Thursday and Friday to try to resolve that and then focus on that. So we'll be discussing the AGM for March. More than anything, that's what it's all about. I think that a lot of vendors won't come and spend $300 for a booth for a whole day for the 60 or so people for Thunder Bay District Assembly. On the other hand, NOMA has 350 people. Those vendors will spend $1,000 to sit in that room as we all participated, and we'll spend the money because we get a bigger audience. So anyway, that's basically what's been going on with Thunder Bay District Assembly. I then attended last week with the zone. We've had some problems with our own police services board to get through the training process, and the systems are wonky. So it's not nothing to do with any individual, it's the systems. We've tried to address that with the ministry. This was implemented, the Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan was implemented on April 1st, 2024. It's been not really well adopted throughout. We had the ministry staff in Thunder Bay. We had the Solicitor General's office there. We had the policing services, the OCAP, which is the Ontario Association of Chiefs of Police. We had the Ontario Association of Police Service Boards, and everybody's struggling in regards to the best way to get your boards functioning. So we were planning on having a board meeting on Thursday last week, and we couldn't because our members are not fully trained under the Act. You can't have a meeting until you're trained. At least Section 1 of the training, which will be was supposed to be done, but the access to that was not available for our members. So we're trying to get through that. Then we had our zone meeting. Zone 1 goes all the way to Manitoba border. So basically from Manitoba, 5-1, that came onto us. We're a joint board all the way to Manitoba border. It's struggling to get even regular members for municipal councils on those boards. Provincial appointments are a real struggle. That's been an ongoing battle for years. Our police service board has not had a provincial appointment for 5 years. It's not for lack of names. Names have been submitted both for the provincial, but the municipal levels on Marathon's been okay. Other boards are really struggling to get boards up and running. We had a governance leadership and membership discussion with the OCAP and OPSB. Then we had lunching working with the municipal billing. As you all know, we were getting about a 23% increase in our policing cost. Everybody pushed back through the associations and got the government of Ontario to recognize there was a negotiated amount for the union staff for the policing. It was retro, so it ended up having a huge impact. So the government of Ontario came in with $77 million, reduced that amount to a reasonable amount to see a smaller increase in most boards, which took about $150,000 off of our plate. I don't know what the percentage was, Mr. Rowe, at the end of the day for increase over last year, but it was a substantial decrease with the $77 million contribution from the government. It's a one-time fee. So we're talking about how does that look for 26 and 27 going forward. So they're trying to work through that, and they understand the importance of it for all boards, specifically small northern rural boards, because it's about the impact it has on a small budget. So we're no different. We did talk about the inclusion and introduction of the theme of diversity within the policing world. That's a big problem still. But actually, the exciting part is that the OPP and the policing services have seen an uptake dramatically in individuals going to the police college. So they're going to put on a 5th class this summer. They're going to try to do a summer class. So there's been a huge uptick in regards to demand for that.
Where's this?
At the police college in Ottawa, Ontario.
Okay.
So yeah, so there's been a huge uptick, and a lot more people are signing back up for policing. So we're looking at probably having in Canada alone over 2,000 trained officers by the end of 2025. 2,000 new police officers. So great, Councillor Rounds.
That must be an effect from removing the post-secondary requirement for.
That had a lot to do with it, but here's the funny part was that there was never a requirement to have post-secondary education. It was just always thought that you had to do it, but the government was very clear. You didn't need. You can come out of high school right into the policing world, but you had to go through a testing process. So what they're looking for more mature students. So when they put the requirement of post-secondary education, they thought they'd have like a 23 or 24-year-old student come in and go into the policing world. Whereas now you can leave high school at 18, 19? Yeah. And go into policing. You can. And you always could, but they were preferring that. So they've reflected that and made that more clear to the public. So
We want a maturity level too.
that's absolutely, that's what they're looking for. And then the compliance and challenges of the boards, the training. So let's put it this way, you want to diverse up your community. So you look at your community, you want that to be represented by your police board and your police service board, but that's not happening. So what you're getting is I'm going to say it very clear, too many old people, myself included, I'm an old person, that is sitting on our boards because they're retired, they can commit the time. We need to be diverse and having young people like, we're looking at our table, look at the age in our cabinet, me and Councilor Lakeland, now Councilor Giuliano, the old people, but we need to be diversified and having young people, so we need to focus on that. And a lot of it came out as what is the compensation level for those individuals? So if I'm tying it up at day of my time and my employer will give me the time off, but they won't give me the compensation, what is the compensation fair and equitable? So that's being discussed through all associations to bring back to municipal governments to say, hey, you want to have a member on your police service board, and we're going to see an increase in our board as well because we have to have a separate insurance policy now over and above what we had before. So that's an added cost. So our budget should see a dramatic increase. I'll look at our treasurer, but from the $6,500 roughly, it's going to see an increase because of the insurance costs and the increased costs. We have 4 members there, 3 members for sure, and we could have a potential 4th. So we have to figure that out through the provincial appointment. And they're saying they govern the provincial appointment stipends, but they're not saying the overall board. No, so they got to figure that out. That's being worked on. So let's just put it this way. So the act was being changed and worked on and was implemented April 1st. So we might see this in 25 or 6. I don't know. It's okay. It's all being worked on. Introduction from the OACP, which is the Ontario Association of Chiefs of Police, and then of course our Lisa Darling was there, who's our executive director for the Ontario Association of Police Service Boards. And then we had some diversity in regards to, believe it or not, I was quite surprised. It was a discussion around the individuals who have hearing impairments. Well, if a police officer pulls up and talks to somebody and that person can't hear them, well, how do they communicate? So now she was very instrumental in creating this advisor card. So the advisor card is being promoted by the Hearing Association of Ontario to have this given to all individuals who want it, have it in their car. But it's also being recommended by police officers as well, because you pull over a person who has hearing issues, you can identify, I want to see your license, your ownership, insurance. They can see that, right? They can do all the right things, but if there's no communication tool, some people cannot read lips, as you see here. Like I can read lips, right? But I can maybe, write a note. So it's a really good tool, and that was talked about in 2018 and COVID hit and never got implemented. So now it's getting implemented. So it's, we don't think of it, but there's 330,000 Ontarians who drive who are deaf. So that has an impact, and they're going to have interaction with police officers throughout the province throughout the year.
That's also going to help the newcomers with language barriers and stuff like that too.
Absolutely.
Right? So
this is being promoted through the community for the deaf community. But where I'm asking through the Ontario Association as well as the Ontario Chiefs of Police to have all officers have this in their car on the visor, so that if they come into a situation whether it's newcomer or not, they can discuss with the language barrier or the hearing impairment. So we'll see if that comes out, but hopefully it does. And then we had a discussion around the newcomers coming to our country, and that was discussed from there, from the Multicultural Center, from Kathy Woodbeck. If anybody's met her, she's been very adamant on the last 25 years for inclusion of immigrants to our communities. And so she gave a presentation. It was a good update, good session. Obviously, I've been sitting on it for a long time, and it's frustrating sometimes, but at the end of the day, you just got to kind of go with the flow.
Your worship, those would be the beneficial conversations to be having at the municipal league if we had like the Multicultural Association come in, or people around succession planning, stuff like that, right? Instead of the air fryers or the composters that they try and push and stuff. So
you need those too, but you need a mix of everybody, right? Okay, any questions on that? No, hearing none, thank you very much. Bylaws. We have a bylaw number 2084 being a bylaw to adopt the emergency management program, the emergency response plan to meet the requirements under the Emergency Management and Civil Protection Act. We read it first, second, and third time, finally passed the 16th day of December, 2024. Moved by Councilor Ballin, second by Councilor Wheeler. Any questions on that bylaw? Hearing none, call question, all in favor? Carried, thank you very much. Up next, we have bylaw number 2085 being a bylaw to authorize the establishment of fees and charges for the town of Marathon for the year ending December 31st, 2025 to be read the first, second, and third time, and finally passed the 16th day of December 2024. Moved by Councilor Wheeler, second by Councilor Lake. Any questions on those fees and charges by law? Hearing none, I call the question. All in favor? Carried, thank you. Bylaw number 2086 being a bylaw to amend the bylaw number 2076, a bylaw to adopt the estimates and sums required during the 2024 year. You read it first, second, and third time, and finally passed the 16th day of December 2024. Moved by Councilor Lake, second by Councilor Giuliano. Any questions on that? Hearing none, call question. All in favor? Carried, thank you. Bylaw number 2087 being a bylaw to repeal bylaw number 2066 being a bylaw to appoint the CEO and corporate service manager as persons to enforce municipal bylaws, property standards, and corporation and town of Marathon. Be read a first, second, and third time, finally passed the 16th day of December 2024. Mover, Councilor Bell, second by Councilor Wheeler. Any questions on that bylaw? Hearing none, call question. All in favor? Carried, thank you. Council hereby supports the attached resolution received from the town of Aurora pertaining to the request of redistribution of the provincial land transfer tax and GST to municipalities as sustainable infrastructure funding. For the obvious motion before on the individual this time the originating resolution. We've already discussed this in the past. There's one other one presented, but it's just that those taxes should come back help offset ours. So everybody had an opportunity to look at the report. Anybody have any questions? I'll put Hoover second there. Councilor Lake second. Councilor, any comments on that? Pretty straightforward. Just ask the province to redistribute those funds, help us offset our operating costs. Hearing that, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Announcements. Got some announcements here. Just of course, we're coming up to the Christmas season. I'll let Councilor Mouse go ahead first. The other one.
Awesome. So yeah, the Marathon and District Chamber of Commerce proudly presents the annual Give Where You Live, Shop and Support Local giveaway. So the Marathon and District Chamber of Commerce is encouraging you to give your business to your local businesses. And they want to reward you for keeping your dollars in our community with our Shop and Support Local giveaway. So in order to be entered, please take a look at the Marathon and District Chamber of Commerce Facebook page for the hyperlink and everything, but essentially save your receipts from shopping local and you can go and submit your receipts online in a Google form format for a chance to win 5 gift bags, with the grand prize gift bag being valued at over $500 of local just merchandise, local goods, and all that from some of our brick and mortars here in Marathon. So please take a look at our Facebook page, and I'm sure you'll see some posters around town. So please support our local businesses and shop and support local this holiday season.
So thank you very much. Before I get into the municipal announcements, I'll give council an opportunity if they want to recognize Christmas holiday season with the residents. Councilor Lake?
I get to go first. Okay. Well, you know what? It's so the thing that happened this year to me, and I gotta say, just clarify some things. Is my young boy's away playing hockey, and my wife went to take care of him, and my other boy's away at university. So I've had just 2 cats at home, and I putter around the house, and I cannot believe how lonely you can get, even with a life that feels full in lots of other ways. And I just think as we go into the holidays, I guess the thing that's in my head is, to one, just enjoy your family if they're around and maybe find in your heart to forgive them for whatever's keeping you apart. And then 2, to look around and see if there's other folks that, need just a place to eat or a friendly hello. It is, we're getting to the darkest day of the year, December 21st. And I think that's a metaphor for some people's lives too. So just looking up for your neighbors and just really, I will be celebrating how loud and crazy you can get in the house. I'm looking forward to that. So Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and I hope your family's close by.
Thank you. Councilor Maynard?
I just want to say Joyeux Noël et bonne année à tout le monde. J'espère que vous avez des belles vacances. So Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, everyone. I hope you have a good New Year.
Great. Thank you very much. Councilor Wheeler?
So very similar to what Councilor Lake said. As we celebrate the holiday season, let's remember to look out for one another. This time of the year isn't easy for everyone, so a little kindness can go a long way. I'd also like to thank and give a shout out to our shift workers that have to work during the holidays, our first responders, healthcare staff, and all who keep our community running during the holidays. Your dedication is truly appreciated, and just like to wish all of our residents a Merry Christmas, joyful holiday season, and a wonderful New Year.
Great, thanks a lot. Councilor Giuliano?
I want to first of all say, recognize that we have people from a lot of different cultures, more and more in our community. So I'm wishing people Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Solstice, Happy Yule, and Happy Holidays, Happy Santa Claus. I mean, there's all kinds of ways that people celebrate, but that we share that desire for the growing light that comes after the 21st. And also to acknowledge that, as Councillor Lake mentioned, that there are people, this is a really hard time of year, particularly those who are grieving, those who are lonely, recently divorced, struggling with alcohol and drugs. And want to reach out to them in particular. And I'll mention that I will be hosting a celebration of the solstice on Saturday night at St. John's Church at 7 o'clock. And that's specifically for people who are looking for a little space in the cheerfulness to acknowledge that, it is a hard time of year for them, and for people who want to come and support those people.
Great, thank you very much. Councilor Anthony?
I personally want to take the time to wish a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays to everyone in the town of Marathon, from my family to everyone's side. And as Councilor Wheeler said, as a son of a shift worker, we already celebrated Christmas this past weekend. So to those families that have already celebrated Christmas or celebrated Christmas before December 25th, Merry Christmas to them as well. Happy Holidays. Enjoy the time off if you have it, and be with your families, everyone.
Great, thank you. Councilor Balance?
Yeah, I think everyone hit the nail on the head already and summed it up pretty much. So just Merry Christmas, Joyeux Noel, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year. Like Councilor Giuliano said, there's various religions in our community, and not just Christmas is being celebrated. So thinking of everyone and thinking of those who are grieving, but also thinking of those who love holidays, love Christmas, who just want to celebrate, have a good time, and hug your families, take the pictures, and just enjoy it. So
great, thank you. Yeah, by all means, as we all recognize, this time of the year is tough on a lot of people in regards to our community. But first off, our team here, I want to take the opportunity to thank you for the year, because Councilor Giuliano being a newcomer to the council, our student councilors, it's all about respect and enjoying each other's company and making sure the community is in the right place going forward. So, and all the administration, everybody puts a hard effort into making our community best place it can be. As for the residents, we all know that we all have a lot of friends and family within our communities. And there are people who are lonely, as you mentioned, Councilor Lake, and we need to recognize that and go and visit and can help your neighbor with a shovel here or a shovel there, knock on a door, say hi, bring some leftover food, whatever. If that individual is by themselves, stop in with some leftover turkey and gravy, whatever that might be. Just think about their situation as well as yours. And I think everybody will have a great holiday season, and recognizing everybody. So on behalf of myself, my family, I want to take the opportunity to wish everybody happy holidays. Don't drink and drive, and it's part of our municipal message as well. But I think I'll just recognize that through the holiday hours. The town will be open Friday, December 20th from 9 till 4. Monday, December 23rd, Wednesday, January 1st be closed. Regular hours will Thursday, January 2nd, 2025 from 9 a.m. After hours emergency calls are always available, 6125, 229-6125. And be respectful. If anybody uses that line, there are people who are not respectful. And I think as we recognize that going through all of our interactions with people on the phone, we're hearing that message more and more. And that shouldn't have to be there, but it is there. But if you're not going to be respectful to the individual you're talking to on the phone, they have every right to hang that phone up. So use the call if you need to, but be respectful for the person you're talking to on the other end. Waste transfer stations office here is opened December 24th, 1 to 4, 26 closed, December 28th, 10 to 4, December 31st, 1 to 4, January 1st closed, and then back January 2nd regular hours. Recreation complex Tuesday, December 24th to January 1st is closed. There will be a ski with Santa on the 21st of 2 to 4. Curbside collections will be Wednesday, December 25th, and Tuesday, December 24th. We'll be changing that date. On Wednesday, January 1st will be Tuesday, December 31st. Just go on the town's website, you'll recognize all those as well. Tree roundup will be available. Place your tree on curbside, and no artificial ones, please, before 7 a.m. on Tuesday, January the 7th. that we picked up, from your side. And again, we have, a message that we want to make sure everybody has a happy holiday season. And of course, don't drink and drive, take a cab, call a friend, walk. It's awesome. And on behalf of your council, administration, make sure everybody's safe and sound out there. And we'll see you back here in 2025. Hard to believe.
That's crazy.
2025. Anyway, I thank you very much, and I do have a motion here to adjourn the meeting at 5:25 PM. Council Lake, second by Council Ritter. Thank you and have a great night.
Yes.